Hello and welcome to another episode of the Best of Buckeye. I'm School Superintendent Brian Williams, and we are joined with an awesome group today. And I usually kind of announce the name of the group, but this is a hodgepodge. We have many groups represented today. Ms. Gail Telford is with us, and she's our prevention specialist for our school district. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate you being here. And I'm really excited about this show today. And the reason is because I think our school district, thanks largely in part to you, do so much for our kids outside of academics. One of our club, we'll talk about National Honor Society, which obviously is academic, but there are so many other things that happen in our school system that are just good for kids. They're, whether they be leadership opportunities for kids, opportunities for kids to support each other, and I'll be careful not to steal too much thunder because I know there's a lot of things here to talk about. But Ms. Telford, could you maybe just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with our school district?
Sure. I am an independently licensed social worker, and I'm also a chemical dependency counselor. I've been with the district for 15 years as an employee, and 2 years as my first 2 years were contracted. And so a total of 17 years we've had to pull a number of things together, a number of programs, and we are partially supported by the McDAC anti-drug levy. They pay for a portion of my salary to provide prevention programs to keep kids on the right track, to avoid alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs, and give them a solid opportunity to be successful. And so all of the programs that we're going to talk about today talk about, they're in place to help students to make good choices, to be productive citizens, to connect them to the community, both the entire district and the community at large. And you know, it's a lot of fun for kids. And you know, I think you know, we often think how important is the academic piece of school is, but for me, you know, I know when I was in school, I remember these types of things that I was involved in really is what connected me to that community most of my, you know, school career. And so it's exciting to be able to offer so much to our students here.
Well, and that's why I'm so excited to talk about it, because again, I think when you think of school, you think of going to class and taking math and science and English. School is so much more than that, and preparing our kids for life after high school is so much more than preparing kids with the, you know, the 3 R's, I guess. It's so much more than that, and that's really what you do for our district. And as you mentioned, you're partially funded from a grant, which we're very fortunate that we have that grant, that we're able to provide that to our district and our kids at no cost to our taxpayers. In that portion, our district does offset a little bit of the cost. And again, thank you to our community. We'll keep going back and saying this for the levy that we recently passed, because I don't think many people realize that when our levies did fail, you were cut. Your hours were cut, and you were no longer a full-time employee here, which was tragic for our district, and really truly tragic for our kids, because there were many opportunities that kids missed out on because you weren't here full-time. And with the passage of that levy, you are back full-time, and we are able to provide these programs to our kids. So thank you so much. And again, I want to be careful because I want to do justice to what you do. And we talk about the importance of academics, and they're number one. They're the most important thing we do. But if kids don't have that sense of belonging, if they don't feel like they fit in, if they don't feel like they have a, you know, a social group, if they don't have leadership opportunities, academics are going to suffer. And that's what you really focus on, is how do we make sure that every student in our entire school district feels good about being here, being a student here, and flourishing as an academic student because of what they're doing and all these other programs. And you guys have brought these t-shirts, and we like to buy t-shirts to symbolize the things we do. But can we start, why don't we start with you? And you've been here before, so let's go around. You guys can introduce yourselves, and if it's if the answer to this is ditto, then after you say it, then you guys can say ditto. But if you introduce yourself and which organizations you're involved with. Is it too many? Or should we just introduce yourself, and we'll talk about him as we go.
Okay.
And your grade.
Okay, Keegan Gallagher, I'm 12th grade.
I'm Maggie Kale, and I'm in 12th grade. I'm Julie Monson, I'm a senior.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much for being here. And it's hard to believe it's February, and you guys are winding down your senior year. Now, no tears, no crying on TV. We don't do that. But it's sad for us that kids like you guys that are awesome have been here and are leaving us, and that's sad. And hopefully you never forget us, and maybe someday you'll come back. Who knows? Maggie, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
And you know, something that we're really grateful for is the leadership that you guys have provided allows, you know, the underclassmen to see what they need to do coming up the ranks, and you guys have really done a great job with that, and I truly am grateful for all of your help and your support to make our programs work. I'm sure we have a lot of kids coming up that will follow your footsteps and be leaders just the same, so thank you for that.
Absolutely, thank you. And this program could be 2 hours to talk about all the things we do, so we're going to try to move through this, and I'll throw a program out, and then one of you guys tell us about it, okay? And then you fill in.
Sure.
I'm sure they'll be perfect, though. Huddle. What is Huddle? She has the Huddle shirt on.
Yeah, she does.
Well,
Go ahead.
Huddle stands for helping us develop dedication, leadership, and enthusiasm. And first you have to fill out an application before you can become a Huddle member and go through an interview. And then once you're selected, you go through training, and then once a month you get to go down and teach 4th and 5th graders about alcohol and other drugs.
Wow. Now that must be quite rewarding to be able to work with the younger kids.
It is.
And as Ms. Telford said, you know, people don't embrace the role as role model. I'm assuming you guys do. But the fact of the matter is, when you're a 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grader, kids look up to you and they watch you and they do what you do. So this kind of a program is awesome to let our kids know what's the appropriate way to behave. What else about Huddle? Anything else we want to add?
Not only in the classroom do the kids look up to us, but in public, if they see us, they remember us forever. So it's kind of building a friendship for the future too. So
good. And you have to take a pledge to be in Huddle, right?
We do.
What's that pledge?
we pledge to be drug, alcohol, tobacco free.
Right. And how tragic would it be if those little kids saw you doing something
That's
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Then they would think it'd be okay.
Right. Yeah. They're taking the wrong message, I guess.
Yep.
So good for you guys for making that pledge.
How
That's
many
awesome.
how many years have each of you been in it?
4.
And this is my first year.
Okay, that's okay. How many members of Huddle?
32.
37 right now.
37. Well, so it's 37 kids that have made that pledge and have the opportunity to work with the younger kids. Awesome. How about freshman mentors?
All of us again.
We're all freshman mentors.
Yes.
But as our job, it's our job to be friends to the mentor or to the freshmen, and we provide breakfast to them. We provide table conversations throughout the year to make sure everything's going with a steady flow. We do the orientation, so they know how to unlock their lockers and go to different classes and all that kind of stuff. And our main role is throughout the day, every day, is to be a mentor to the freshmen if they need help in the hallway, if someone's picking on them, that type of stuff.
So we probably all remember back when we were starting high school, coming in from junior high or middle school, and what that was like and how intimidating that can be. What a wonderful program to give kids that are there to help them and not, we don't have anybody shoving kids in lockers, right?
No.
But, we make sure that doesn't happen. They come in, they have people there to help them.
In the last couple of years, you guys have done the food drive
Yep.
to the food bank, the Buckeye Food Bank. And also, a lot of the mentors volunteer to go down to the junior high and do tutoring.
Awesome.
So that's really...
So starting to establish that relationship even before they get to the high school.
Yes, yes.
Awesome. Very good. Perfect. What about Project Care?
I'm involved in that one, and right now I think the last thing we did was Valentine's cards for the nursing home, and so we donate cards. And anything else to add?
And they do, in May, they do a teacher appreciation, little mini breakfast in the morning they give them. They, the main premise of Project Care, and what I have found over the years, is this is a group where you don't have to qualify. There is no qualifications to be a member. Anybody can be a member, and the goal is to do community endeavors where you're giving and is a part of the community, whether it be at school or otherwise. And so they work to do many projects like that. And so I find that a lot of our at-risk kids will sign up for Project Care. The kids who don't, whose grades aren't the best, but they want to belong to something. And so it gives them that outlet.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it gives kids the opportunity to give back, and we should all do that. Really, we're in so many ways. We're so very lucky to be in Buckeye and to be in a great school district and a great community, and it's nice to give back. So thank you.
And to feel like you belong to something. So.
Excellent. SAD.
SAD stands for Students Against Destructive Decisions.
Okay.
And our group is mainly, we do a lot with Red Ribbon Week, and we do Unity Day, which is to stand against bullying, and Red Ribbon Week is to stand up against alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. And it's a whole week where we share facts throughout the announcements to show how many students have died from alcohol and try to just put that into students' minds, like what happens when you use alcohol. And then we also do a dodgeball tournament, so it's an alternative way to have fun with your friends instead of going out and partying. So.
Awesome.
And they usually make a donation from their proceeds of that to a charity of some sort. They also do. They also sponsor speakers throughout the school year at the junior high and high school. So this year, for instance, we have a panel discussion on heroin use with some people in college who are ex-heroin users, and they're coming in March. So Saddle sponsor that. They sponsored the Sober Truth speaker that we had last month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Excellent. Wow. Very good. Oveus Bullying Prevention Program.
Yes.
What do you know about that?
Well, that's through the Buckeye Summit team. So that program is going through the entire district right now, and it's about anti-bullying. So it's all about preventing bullying in the high school and making sure it doesn't happen. So what we do is, I think every 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks
at the high school.
3 or 4 weeks at the high school, there's 2 or 3 people per classroom who are in the Oveus team that go to each classroom, and then they talk about, like, we've already gone through all 4 rules, so all 4 anti-bullying rules, and now we're going in more in depth about how you can prevent it and how to stand up for someone who may be bullying.
And these are smaller groups of kids that have the opportunity to meet with you and learn these rules, and
yes,
do they get to share feelings and stuff like that?
Sure.
Experiences. They come together and they share what's going on, how they can relate to each other, and again, it's creating a sense of belonging in a classroom setting. So we do it first period during homeroom classes. So it's the same kids every session, getting to know each other. And that premise of Oveus is to allow those students, all students, to feel like they belong somewhere. And by having the staff involved, and at the high school we have students, we have 54 members in the Oveus team that go and help teach and actually facilitate these group sessions. It's bringing them together and helping kids who normally wouldn't maybe talk about different things that are happening to them at school actually have the forum to do that.
And actually every building has a team like that. That it's not a team like your student team, but they get together in groups and they go over the lessons and they teach the kids the 4 rules and how to behave and how to treat each other and how to include kids and how to spot bullying and what it looks like, and just again a district-wide initiative to try to keep kids feeling good and comfortable about being in our school district. We'll never get rid of it, right? I mean, kids will always bully a little bit, and there are probably many reasons for that, but it's one more effort to try to do away with bullying and make kids feel good in our district.
Yes.
Excellent. Anything else? Anything else about that one? Buckeye Summit. You know what, can I say one thing before we move on? I want to thank our foundation, our education foundation, that gave a sizable grant to bring the Oveus program to our district, as well as United Way, that helped to bring that to our district. So make sure I say that on camera, because we are very appreciative. And we get a lot of things that we do through donations and through grants and through other organizations that know the importance of supporting kids, which makes stronger communities because of how great our kids are, and if they grow up to be contributing members of our community is stronger. And
United Way provided these T-shirts that Keegan has on
through the grant.
Through their grant to the students, and they provided the T-shirt and they paid for our training.
Yes. Yep. They've been very supportive of schools in the county in general.
Yes.
Yeah. Buckeye Summit.
Yes. Same group. Well, it involves the Oveus.
Yeah. The Oveus is one project of the Buckeye Summit team.
Okay.
Not all the students participate in it, but the majority of them do. We have about 68 students in the Buckeye Summit.
Okay.
So maybe you could talk a little bit about the training we just had last month.
Last month, what we had was a couple United Way. A United Way team came in and they went over a new program that they're starting, and this is all from the E4 Summit last year, which involved all of the schools around Medina County. So what they did was they came in and personalized it for Buckeye, and we met in small groups, and everybody got to pick a group that for what they believed they could change in the school. So everybody got into the groups, and they met with one representative from United Way and helped them facilitate with like what they can change, how they can do it, and then we got a packet, like, and this is called the Venture program.
Okay, great.
And we got a packet over how, like, everything, laying down all the bullet points and what we can do.
Can you give us an example of something that maybe you guys think you can change? Anything that came out of it? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I'm thinking of a couple groups. There was one group where they want to figure out what they want to do with their career in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So what I think, I'm not sure what they were planning on going ahead with it, but maybe bringing in speakers so a physical therapist can come in and speak about it, a teacher can speak about it, and then kids can get an idea of what it's all about.
Awesome.
And maybe pursue a career in that or something.
Excellent.
A few other ones were, one wanted an arts program, maybe after school classes of some sort around the arts. Another group wants to create care packages for children in hospitals and for homeless people. So part of the Venture program, which is really cool, the packet that Keegan was talking about was an opportunity to kind of write a grant to go to United Way, sit before a board, much of what you and Julie did for the Oveus program, and present your project for funding. And it's very detailed. It's a great opportunity for kids to learn how to really go after what they believe in and get the funding for it and have to speak to adults. And so it's a really great opportunity for these kids to develop some of those skills they might need as they grow into adulthood to really...
It's real world.
Yes.
It's real world stuff.
Yes.
If you want something, it's just not given to you.
Right.
You got to come up with a plan and go ask for it and find out who can fund it for you. Awesome. That's a really neat project.
Yeah.
Great. What about ninth grade focus?
I'll talk a little bit about that. Our ninth grade focus group is a class that we offer every year for at-risk ninth grade students. We get the names from the junior high of those eighth graders who kind of fall through the cracks. We have, we have kids who are on 504s and IEPs and get special services for being on those plans. But there is a group of kids who, for whatever reason, they don't qualify in that category, but they could use some assistance throughout the school year to stay on track. And otherwise, they may fall through the cracks because of their grades. Those types of students might have issues going on at home, stressors at home going on. They might just not be really good at certain subjects. They might not have the organizational skills or the study skills. There could be a number of reasons why they're lacking the ability to follow through. So we usually get 15 to 20 students from the junior high that we can put into this class. The students actually get a credit for being in this class, and there's certain expectations that are set throughout the year. Part of what Student Assistance offers is a life skills program that's done weekly with the students to help them manage some of these issues going on in their lives. I also do an assessment with them, which is called Ohio Scales, and it gives me a measurement of where they might really seriously be at risk, be it internally with depression or anxiety, or externally with anger management issues or alcohol, tobacco, or other drugs type things. So we get to keep track of them all year round, and a large percent of them actually do succeed and move forward. And then we track them after that year. If they are deficient in any area, then they usually get put into credit recovery program, or some additional services are given to them to kind of help them stay on track.
So it's really helping kind of that first year and helping them to get acclimated to the high school,
yes,
and identifying those kids that may need a little extra support, and it provides it for them.
Right, because studies have shown that if those students are not caught and you don't help them at that grade level, chances of them actually graduating lessen considerably.
And we've seen so many kids that get off to that bad start their freshman year, and they're behind in credits, they're trying to make up, and it's, sometimes for some kids it's hard enough to keep up with what you've got to do. And, trying to do extra because you got behind is almost a nail in the coffin sometimes, that they're not going to make it.
Right.
Well, good. I'm glad we have that program. It sounds like it's wonderful for those kids that are in it. Junior high mentor tutor program?
And we do that periodically as they need it down at the junior high. We do have, like I said, the freshman mentors will go down there. Students from some of the other programs will volunteer to go down there, and they either go into the classroom and assist the teacher with the students, or they'll work with students individually.
What about the junior high buck squad?
Junior High Buck Squad came out of the Medina County Share Cluster Middle School training this year. We take them each year to this training, about 16 kids. And what came out of it is what's now called the Buck Squad. And actually, these kids are a lot like our Oveas kids and our Project Care kids, where they really have a desire to make a change in their community. So at the junior high level, we're working to have that same kind of energy and initiative, and boy, they've got the energy down there. It's been really great. So we're hoping to provide some opportunities for them to make a difference down at the junior high level.
So much of these programs are about developing leaders, it sounds like, really trying to bring out the leadership capabilities in kids and giving them those opportunities to, whether it be in front of their peers, whether it be in front of teachers, outside groups, I mean, giving them that skill to do that, which is not, it doesn't just come, you've got to practice that, and again, which gives them the opportunities to be more successful at that when they graduate.
Right.
When they're in front of their first job interview or something like that, that maybe they're a little more comfortable as a result of these programs. Good. You have a number of other groups as far as anger management, students of solutions, senior group, men's group, women's group.
Yes.
What are those groups?
Those groups are offered twice a year for 8 weeks each semester. And it's basically a volunteer group that kids can join. And they come down on a rotating schedule. It might be, you know, first period 1 week, second period the next, and so on and so forth. So they don't miss class repetitively. And they have the opportunity in those groups, like for instance, anger management, they can work on anger issues. And that's probably our biggest one. We usually have at least 2 of those groups going during the cycle. And of course, they learn how to manage their anger. Senior group deals with transitions, moving out of high school. So there's a lot of talk about college and how are they managing the stress around moving on with their lives, how do they deal with letting go here at school, and it's a great group. And then Student Solutions, men's group, women's group, they all deal with everyday life issues. And those kids usually join because they have serious stuff going on in their homes, or they're struggling with peer relationships, and they want someplace to come and talk about it. So we provide that venue for them.
And I think sometimes people don't realize we have so much of those things going on. That's why when I kind of introduced this show today, there's so much happening behind the scenes that I don't think people really realize, where we're supporting kids. We have kids that have needs, you know, kids that, like we all do, everybody has things in their lives going on that sometimes make life tough.
Right.
And we're trying to address those needs of our kids here. Again, getting back to the fact that if you don't have those needs met, you're not going to be able to succeed academically.
Right.
And thank you for doing that.
Well, and I want to mention Big Brothers Big Sisters, because that's something that we collaborate with, and we have a ton of kids from the high school that are in that program. We used to have, when I was full-time previously, an elementary mentoring program, and kids would go down during their study hall and help to mentor students and tutor them. And then when I went part-time, we had to dismantle that because there was a lot of work that had to go into that. And Big Brothers and Big Sisters decided that they wanted to begin their program here. So we took them on, and it's really, it's an awesome program where the high school kids get to mentor these kids after school once a week. And you know, are any of you Big Brothers or Big Sisters?
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about it.
This past year, they actually brought Big Brothers Big Sisters in for the junior high too.
And so maybe you can share a little bit about that experience.
The elementary.
I've been Big Brothers Big Sisters for 3 years, and those kids are a lot of fun. I've been doing it at the elementary, and they've got a lot of energy all the time, and they're so fun. And afterward, when they tell you thank you, it's worth it.
Well, I know those kids really look forward to it. And I know as I was got an opportunity to watch a little bit of the training, I know one of the things they stress is the fact that if you're going to make this commitment, you make it.
Right.
You can't be wishy-washy about it, because these kids count on you. They look forward to you coming, and you know, you don't want to create a situation for some of these kids. People have walked out of their lives, and that's why they need this support, and you don't want to be one more person to walk out of their lives. So it is a big commitment that you're making, and thank you for doing that. That's, again, I'm so impressed with the kids we have that get involved, like these 3 here. I mean, it's just unbelievable what these guys have done. They've sat for these shows before because they're involved in so much. You have classroom presentations. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? Prescription drug use, the life skills program?
Well, whenever possible, we try and do interventions in the classroom. Our guidance counselors at all levels throughout the district often do interventions in the classroom around different topics: conflict management, organization, study skill, things like that. But we do have some help from Solutions Behavioral Health. They get a grant from MCDAC as well that allows us to have a counselor once a week who comes in and does the prescription drug information thing in our health classes. In past years, they've done another program on depression at the junior high. And we have a new guy this year, so he's acclimating himself and doing some different things. One is the prescription drug, and he also helps with the life skills program for our 9th grade focus group. So whenever we can, we try and get in the classroom, and then we also try and bring speakers into the classroom. We do have like the TINA project in the health classes, and some other programs that we try and put in through the health curriculum to cover the same type of prevention topics. So.
Well, and you can never hit it in just one way.
Right.
It's hitting it many different ways to make sure everybody gets it.
Right.
Yeah. Deputy Easterday, you work closely with Deputy Easterday in some regards?
Right, yeah, we try and collaborate whenever possible. He does, of course, does the DARE program, the 6th grade DARE program, so he's on the same path as I am. He's also funded by MCDAC. So he comes and he helps sometimes with our huddle training. He'll come and take pictures for us, you know, usually wherever we need assistance, he's there to kind of help out, and he helps get some of the speakers that we get. So we try and collaborate whenever possible.
And he's a great resource in our district for obvious reasons as a deputy sheriff,
right.
but also the relationships that he builds with kids and really
right.
showing law enforcement in a different light. And that's one of the reasons he's here. You know, is
right.
Also obviously the big prevention piece on his
yes.
part, but also just being that person in our district that kids can go to, and again see that police officers aren't always, or sheriff's deputies
right.
are real people, and they're there to help
yeah.
you, and they're friendly, and they're
right.
he's great about that.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes he is.
How about Mr. Blue? We want to talk about him for a moment?
Sure. Mr. Blue was provided to us this year through the United Way. He's from Alternative Paths, and he is offering us mental health services, counseling for our students throughout the district, and it's worked out great. We've developed a wonderful collaborative relationship where the guidance counselors will identify at-risk students either through staff recommendations or on their own when they're working with kids. And we've been able to use him a lot for those kids who normally wouldn't be able to get to counseling on their own for whatever reasons, single parents, very busy, can't, you know, or financially if there's issues. So we have a lot of kids seeing him that probably wouldn't get to counseling otherwise to deal with multiple issues. And what's great is he's also, because he's from Alternative Paths, he does suicide assessments, so we don't have to send our kids necessarily out to the ER to be assessed. He can do the assessment right at school, on the spot, when we need it, and we know where to go from there. So he's been a great resource. I mean, several times I've pulled him in with kids that I'm working with, and we've collaborated to help that student get back on track. And of course, you know, the more people that are involved in caring for that child, the better their chances are that they're going to make it. And so it's a wonderful resource, and you know, for staff as well. We're currently working on developing a program to expand our AVEAS approach of helping teachers to create better relationships with students. So he and I are working on a program that we're going to do at our staff meetings to kind of give staff more information on how they can do that. So it's a really great opportunity.
And I can't wait to hear about that. I mean, one of the things that I have always said is that I challenge our adults, the adults in our buildings, to take find two kids that you can help. Take them under your wing, help them, be a resource for them, develop a relationship for them. I had an opportunity in another meeting to talk about kids and trusted adults. And there are plenty of adults that kids can build a relationship with, but it's that trusted part. Do they trust them? Do they trust the adults to build that relationship and open themselves up? And that's a challenge sometimes.
Yes.
So, you know, I challenge our adults, and I'll say this publicly on TV, that I challenge our adults to take two kids. And if every adult in this district took two kids, 400 or 500 kids that we could have a positive impact on, and that's amazing.
And I do find that we have a lot of staff who actually do that, which is awesome.
Yeah, they do.
You know, it's one of the first questions I ask kids. Are there any teachers that you really trust that you feel you can go to as well? Because we all know that studies have shown the more adults that you have in your life as a child, the greater your chances of surviving childhood are. And so, you know, I find that our staff they're really good at being there for kids. And the more tools we can give them, the better.
Absolutely. Well, and at this point too, I want to make sure we say thank you to Alternative Paths, because as the Buckeye Schools and Alternative Paths collaborated to write that grant to bring Mr. Blue here, and thank United Way for seeing the need for that and providing that to our district. We're very fortunate in that regard. And we've mentioned it a number of times. It really is worth repeating to thank you and thank our guidance counselors. You guys that work with these kids every single day and bring these programs to our district for our kids. You work tirelessly to make sure that these things happen. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you.
What do we have else here? Medina County's Crisis Response Team, Medina County Shared Cluster, Medina County Youth Violence Task Force, Medina County FACT Program, United Way Venture Program. What are all those?
Well, those are my outside of the district collaborations. I attend monthly or quarterly meetings with all of those different organizations to try and bring what's going out in the community back into the district. I gain a lot of information from, let's say, the Youth Violence Task Force and the Medina County Shared Cluster about what the trends that are happening, drug-wise and otherwise. And so that I can bring that back and I can shoot out an email to staff and just give them an update on what's happening, so they're aware and they have that as a part of what they're looking for when they're dealing with students. The Medina County School Crisis Response Team trains staff throughout the county to respond to crisis in school districts in the same manner, with the same types of intervention. And that we've developed over the last 10 years, and it's worked really well and provides every district with a team that will come in and help out in addition to their own people that have been trained, and know that everyone is trained in the same way to provide the same interventions in a crisis. So that's been a great program. But these collaborations are, a lot of them are provided through McDAC. The FACT program provides us with a counselor 4 hours a week that goes and helps at the junior high. They're also supported by McDAC. So we're really fortunate to have that anti-drug levy, and it's coming up in the next year or so, I guess. I think in November or in May. No, in November. So I hope that people will continue to vote for that, because it really does branch out and it supports our district incredibly. Yeah.
What does McDAC stand for? Did I put you on the spot? Medina County
Drug Abuse Commission.
Drug Abuse Commission?
Yes.
I think it's important that our community knows that, because we've mentioned McDAC a number of times. And that is a wonderful organization that provides so much to us. It is a levy that is voted on countywide that provides funds to provide services in many areas. It's not just for schools. It's also the Drug Task Force,
senior aging programs, and then all of the school districts receive services through that as well. So that's along with community programs. I know there's programs through FACT in Lodi and Brunswick, and it's on the levy as the anti-drug levy. I believe that's how it's voted for.
So when that comes up again, we certainly would ask for the support of our county to bring that again, so that we can continue to benefit, and really our students can benefit. It's not really about our school district, it's about our students and providing those programs to our students, and it makes a world of difference. What have we not talked about? Anything that we've not talked about?
Yes.
National Honor Society. Academics.
Yes. I am an advisor for this program, so it is important to me that we mention them as well.
We are 3 of the senior members. I am one of the 2 presidents of NHS this year, and our goal is to take the higher of the classes, junior and senior classes, and be role models and look for more opportunities scholastically and all of the things we do. And we honor our teachers through what's it called?
Celebration of Excellence.
Celebration of Excellence. So we each give a speech on a teacher in the school district, and we can go from elementary to high school, and you can choose anyone from secretary to a teacher or a principal, which is really cool. And then we do tapping, which is obviously when we add new members to our chapter, and then we do Veterans Day. That's our biggest, and we serve our veterans, and we serve them lunch, and we have this awesome presentation every year. And what's the other thing we do? One more.
Ending ceremony.
That's tapping. I don't remember. We do one more.
Induction.
Induction. Yeah. So,
and then each NHS member is required to provide at least 10 hours of service each year in the community. They have to qualify with a lot of community service hours in order to get into NHS. But NHS, NHS is unique in that it's not just about how well you do academically. In order to apply for it, you have to have you have to be very well-rounded. you need to be involved in the community, involved in the school community. You know, these kids are involved in so many different areas. They're very well rounded, and that's what gives them the points to be able to qualify to be a member. And we have about 31 members this year, and applications were just accepted for another round.
Yeah,
So.
congratulations, you
Thank
guys.
you.
I think some people think, oh, I got straight A's, I can be a National Honor Society,
No,
but that's not always the
it's more
case.
than that.
No.
Yeah, it's much more than that. And
No, in fact, our GPA starts at 3.4, so a lot of kids can qualify for it. But it's not based on just that. There's four areas basically. There's leadership,
involvement.
scholastics,
Community service.
community service,
Character.
And work.
character,
yes. Lots of different aspects.
Awesome. Well, I just am so thrilled to have you guys here and impressed by what you guys do and impressed by what you do. We don't say it enough, but we are so lucky to have you here and lucky to have these programs that you run with our kids that complement the academic life that they have here. It makes them better students, well-rounded students, leaders in our community. It supports those kids that need a little bit of support, that maybe are having things happening in their lives that they need somebody to take an interest in them. And you and the programs that you run do that, and we appreciate that. And I hope our community sees that, you know, although I think we offer an outstanding education to our kids, we also offer a lot of other things that help them to be well-rounded students, people of character that are going out into our community and doing great things. I mean, if people could see these guys and what these three particularly do, I think they'd be very, very impressed and very happy with what we're doing in our school district to put great people out into our community. And really, thanks to our families that send us great kids like this, we're just so lucky to be here. So.
Well, and I must say that one of the things that I have loved about Buckeye for all the years that I've been here is that there is a continued effort to allow all students to have the opportunity to be as successful as they want to be in many different ways. Because, you know, an NHS may not be one person's avenue that they want to achieve while they're in school, but there are other groups and organizations that they can be a part of, or even just doing, you know, an anger management group, you know, to give any child the opportunity to have success is what really matters. Not just those kids who come by it naturally, but those kids who sometimes, or a lot of times, struggle to be successful. And I think that's what's so endearing to me in the district, is to have those opportunities and to have administrators that support that.
Well, and there's no reason that every single kid shouldn't be involved in something.
Yeah.
So if parents out there and your child's not involved in something, pick one.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Because there's a lot
something.
more beyond this.
There's
Yes,
a lot
there
more
is.
out there, and
There is.
something for everybody.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate your being here, and
Thanks
Ms.
for
Alfred,
having us,
thank you.
yes.
I hope that this demonstrates that there's a lot going on
Yep.
at Buckeye Schools, and we want to thank our families for allowing us to do what we
Yes.
do. With their support, we can do these things, and we want to keep doing it. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you to our community for tuning in. This has been another episode of The Best of Buckeye. I appreciate your being here, and we'll come to you with future episodes soon.